And welcome to the recap episode as we still learn our way through the streaming space. I'm totally not a novice at this. Anyway, where was I going with this? Fuck.
I don't know. Where were you?
Welcome to the recap episode, everyone, where we talk about our previous episodes.
We're not all very tired or anything. So
we are a functioning group, promise.
So we're going to pick up with a little bit of our prologue, starting with the revival of Stacy into her current form known as Ecstasy. Having died in a previous misadventure that you can hear all about in Campaign 1, she arose in a lightless dungeon, filled in a stone water bath, left in utter silence as she had to fight with both internal and external demons, which left her comatose for quite a while. Upon her recovery, she reached out to some former comrades in a town of Jerky, who seemed to be much better off than when they were left. And with that, she stowed herself and readied herself for a new adventure and a new path, which then led to the gathering of these dubious heroes. And as you can tell, our dear friend Sean and Maraza cannot be with us tonight. He is just a little under the weather, so a image of his favorite wrestler will occupy his space as an homage.
It's what he would have wanted.
That's true.
Only the finest for Sean.
The cream does indeed rise to the top.
So, the characters known as Raza, Rimpi, Dave, and Nathalie all get a little bit of backstory in our first episode and how they're related to the clan as a whole, before they are summoned forth before the dark and terrible lady known as Ecstasy. She handpicks these individuals as a bit of a I can trust you when I can't trust other people, and because taking them away from the clan to pursue her personal agenda will not directly impact the management of said clan. So, already making some business decisions, which terrifies Megan in real life to no end.
You right.
From there, we introduce a little aspects of the clan, who knows who, try to have a little bit of bonding, but we're all evil here, so that basically just amounts to them yelling at each other and pranking one another most brutally, which brings us into our second episode, Upon the Open Sky, where they meet the beloved Sky Captain Rhapsody, who is a fan favorite of our character Dave and
Player favorite also.
She's one of my favorites. Rhapsody is she's fantastic.
Rhapsody
also,
is like the best,
but only in Chris's voice.
Chris has to be the one doing it. Absolutely.
Oh my god, I am Rhapsody. It is so totally awesome to meet all of you, and oh my god, Dark Lady, I didn't know you had so many hidden layers scattered all over the place. And if you can look down right there's an entire slaughtered village of lizardmen. Totes cool, but we didn't do it, so that's not cool, because that means there's something dangerous in the area. But you're super powerful, so it don't matter. So you're just gonna go down into that lovely little cave shadowy thing while I sit up nice and safe in the sky and bombard the general area with the magic torpedoes you gave me. Okay, thanks. And
I think
during that,
I don't know if it's the Bally Girl accent or just the fact that Chris is doing it, because we know Chris how he is in real life. It's great. It's fantastic.
¿Por qué no los dos?
It's definitely both. It's definitely a bit of both.
So, we're introduced to that lovely gem of an NPC who ferries them back and forth for a great amount of time. They have some bonding moments, some pranking. Dave doing all kinds of assholery that doesn't derail and get cut from the podcast episode.
No idea what you're talking about.
What?
And eventually, everything is settled. And that brings...
It actually wasn't that bad. I think I ended up only cutting 5 total minutes of tomfoolishness from Dave specifically.
That's kind of impressive. I thought it was going to be a lot more.
Because I remember while I was editing it, I remember thinking, this felt a lot longer than it actually is. I don't know why.
I forget, was that the episode where I nearly jumped across the table and murdered Vera, or was that later?
No, I think it was that episode.
So you're going to have to be more specific on which episode you're referring to.
The one where
that's
I
true.
call Kane.
No, yeah, I don't know if it was that episode or not. I don't remember.
That was fun.
That don't know, Kane is a very important guest character that takes quite a bit of time to work in properly, and Vera loves using that against me and threatening to call it and derail things.
I like hurting people.
Yes.
It's how I show my love.
Toxic. That brings us to episode 3. The Bibliotheca of the Order Chroma, where we meet the ever-lovely Nold Craven, who is a gem of a delusional fanatic of the Dark Lady. The introduction of said character was Rimpy murderizing his skeletal butler.
Yep.
With a critical.
It was a skeleton in a dungeon. I killed it. It was his servant. I didn't know. I thought I did it good.
Ecstasy came here to look in very records and research and whatnot, only to find it all color-coded. Not by subject or name, but by
or anything that would make sense.
The color.
That was honestly the best.
Both the character Stacy and the player Megan had a bit of a mental meltdown, and the character spent.
I'm sorry to interrupt. That was
fine.
I think that was brought to me at the table that night. You're like, by the way, he organized your entire library by color, and I'm like, he did what?
Yeah, that was brought up at the table. Like, surprise! I didn't know that the library itself was important. I thought it was the items in the library. And, Craven's been there for 6 years with nobody else and nothing to occupy his time.
Was it only 6? I thought it was like 7.
Yeah, it was 6 years. His predecessor committed suicide because of, 20 years of isolation.
Crushing loneliness.
Yeah, who'd have thought? Stick somebody in a box and never visit.
However, this episode is not all peaceful. While Nathalie and some others are investigating some interesting curiosities to them, the door is literally broken down by a returning group, which was originally an ally into now an enemy, the Arbiters. And that brings us into episode 4 of Campaign 2.
So Chris, before we go any further, should we introduce our characters?
Yeah, it might not be a bad idea at this point. Give a little backstory for the characters themselves.
Well, because we pretty much just introduced Craven.
Yeah. So let's start with Dave.
Okay.
With me?
Yes, with you.
Dave is a kobold, and he likes to skin things. That's basically my entire thing. I skin things.
Yep.
That's about it.
You heard that
you're
right.
A bard, and you're
That's
a artificer.
secondary. Who cares about being a bard?
And you're a kobold.
I said I was a kobold.
Oh, you did say that. Okay.
Yeah. Left out the class stuff. It was a kobold tanner, essentially, is what that comment was.
Basically, that's me.
Also, for those of you wondering, Vera's camera decided to kaputs tonight, so you get to look at their very pretty, confused kitty Elixir instead.
That's my pet cat. I love her.
Let's move to Raza Ironclaw, who is not here tonight. She is a dragon-born berserker, a barbarian, with a little spoilerly dip into another class that comes down later. Brought into the clan at a very early age and has an intense hatred for Goliaths. For reasons. It has not come up in comedy at any point. Rimpy, you want to go next?
Oh, yes. Rimpia Miro, the assassin of the guild. I'm a dragonborn. Wow, what is my class?
You're a rogue of the...
I'm a rogue. It's been
The
a
best
while,
road.
alright? It's been a while.
Although that really does kind of play into Rimpy's intelligence score. What am I today?
But he's a fancy boy. And, yeah, he likes the finer things in life amongst all these base rapscallions.
Meg, do you want to introduce Nathalie?
Yeah, so I play Nathalie. She is a drow wizard paladin with an affinity for necromancy and an obsession with building absolutely ridiculous skeletal constructs, aka Bone Regard, and soon Optimus Spine.
Our son!
She is neurotic, a little crazy, and somehow holding it together.
And we love her.
Fantastic.
She is
Player
a
favorite.
treasure.
Best character.
I said she is a treasure.
And you're not biased because she's not your wife.
No bias at all. I have no bias to my player characters. They're all equally grindy in the meat.
Damn. Wow. What
The
became a
problem
touching
here,
moment was like, you're just sausage, Meg. You're just chump meat.
I mean, the problem when you spend how many years playing second edition?
Too many.
Yeah, too many.
Too many.
17. No, I haven't played it
So
in
many.
since what? 2017. So 13 to 27. 14 years, give or take. But that's immaterial to this conversation.
Yeah, I don't
Next
know.
up on the list is the bold, dramatic, decisive leader, Ecstasy. Care to introduce yourself, Megan?
Yes, you all know me and fear me, as you should. Ecstasy is a wizard, sorceress combo mix, and a red tiefling. She used to be pink, and now she's red because pink isn't scary. Red inspires fear. And she has, this whole entire clan that she has no fucking idea how to rule, and she's doing great at struggling to get her memory back and run around with these crazy idiots that she kind of likes more than she wants to say.
It's actually a very
Everyone
accurate
should go listen to
summation.
Campaign 1 to get the backstory.
Yes.
Yeah, insert backstory here. Time
There's-
for episodes. Yeah.
There's a lot of backstory that led to this thing, and hilariously, it all started with Megan going, I don't want to know my backstory because I don't want to write anything. I have amnesia, here you go. And she has not
And
regretted
then it created like a great plot story for
and she has
that
not
he just-
once regretted that decision.
Nope.
that
Still
he
having
just
fun.
took it and made something beautiful.
Amazing.
So, as they flee the burning of... So, back into the story. The Arbiters attack the stronghold. The characters fight it off. Raza stealing a several hundred-pound gauntlet of some automaton because they wanted it. Therefore, Raza was going to make sure they never had it.
They
This is a
want
running
it. We're not
theme.
letting them have it.
It's a running
Go
theme with
fuck
Raza and the
yourselves.
Arbiters. They want it, therefore I need it more. They do manage to escape with some mighty magic back to the sky ship Leviathan and head off to their next stop, which is part of the episode Be Better. They head off to the next one on their list, which is closer to their home base, and it turns out to be a little lake/cottage home of Ecstasy, where she raised her son. There's some traps and whatnot that prevent Dave from going off the grid that I
As
didn't
I
have
once again try to,
that I
You were
didn't have to
really
put
pushing
there
that
for
episode.
story
You were really getting all
reasons.
You were really
I
trying to
thought
break
there
this.
would be more.
No, you just wanted to break the child safety locks. Like, you were the kid at the little baby gate, like, let me in!
But before all that really happened, they encountered a lich named Mickey, who they quickly physically defeated because Raza was angry and needed to hit something very hard. And in a last attempt to recapture her power, Ecstasy managed to wrestle its lair itself away from it, making it her own.
In
once
one of the
more.
most epic fucking, like, oh, it was so good.
The best, like, time for a nat 20 to happen. It was wonderful.
It was great.
I remember Chris
the best
going, like,
things
after
ever
everything had
happened in the
happened, he was like, what was the DC on that? I'm like, there was none. I was just gonna let this... It was just gonna come down to how Megan reacted to her dice.
Honestly,
No,
I
I'm
wasn't
pretty sure
expecting... I wasn't expecting anything to really happen. Like, I was gonna be like, I rolled like shit.
I'm pretty sure your exact words were, unless it was a crit, nothing was going to happen.
It, probably something like that. That does sound like me.
Yes.
And it was a strength check, and Vera was like, a strength check?
It was like an Arcana
but-
strength check or something like that. Something weird.
Which made no sense, but you know what? I'm not the DM.
She was trying
worked
to
out.
wrestle the magical lair away from another creature. Like, that sounds like strength to me.
The dice
It's
gave us
magic.
that day.
That sounds like, brain things.
That's why I gave her the arcane. It was strength arcane, so it was just her arcane skill. No bonuses. Other than, like, the +8 that it is. But still,
The dice gaveth.
I'm
The
gonna
dice
say, I
gaveth
let her
good.
break a mechanic of the game, which, as this group knows, is not something I do often.
He does not like it, Sam I am.
Beautiful.
So with
And
this,
then we got Mickey as an ally.
yes, who,
Which was
because of his
awesome.
undead nature and Megan's wife's distaste for the undead, has disguised himself as that stereotypical 90s cartoon beach guy
Johnny Bravo.
without the words.
Without the gross sexism.
Yes. Which led
The
to
real
a
buff dude
little
in
bit
it.
of confusion on Rhapsody's part, as she thought it was a hot guy to bang.
As Ecstasy's like, no, Lich. Literally Lich.
You
no
could
Rhapsody.
maybe bone him.
Hey, what a...
There we go. There you go.
That-
The quality
that's Chris,
content
that's
everyone
why we
wants.
need a soundboard, so you can have, like, sound bits you can go, boo.
I should boo that one, like, on principle, for so many reasons.
Boo.
Boo. Boo. Okay, moving on. So, doing that, they delve a little bit more into the stories, accomplishments, and other little tidbits of Ecstasy's past. A little bit of team bonding in the thing. And by team bonding, I mean trying to keep Dave under control. That is the theme of the first early episodes, is that Vera wants to be a
Listen,
troublemaker.
I had a whole season of shenanigans to get out of my system, okay?
So, after all of that is said and done, they once more depart back towards the lair, new ally in tow. And this brings us to episode 5, where it gets dark. Dead men do tell tales. So, in retribution of the sacking of her library, Ecstasy and her wife Lith send out Rimpy to acquire an arbiter who's hiding in a nearby town. This is done by shanking him and then dragging him back in front of everyone, where he refuses to speak, but that doesn't matter because they just wanted to torture him. And he is raised and killed, raised and killed, raised and killed, just for the sake of it. Nald burning through the treasury at a terrified rate because she's wondering if he's spending too much, that the Dark Lady will do it, but he knows if he doesn't bring this person back, the Dark Lady will yell at him.
No, I was handed a bag of diamond dust and told he was in the budget.
Yes, he's in the budget.
In
He
fairness,
was in the budget.
Also, I thought Dave tortured him.
Dave and
We
Russell.
Rosa.
did it together.
Oh, okay.
Dave left that encounter disgusted. Or not Dave, Craven. Like, oh my god. I don't think I'm ever working with you like that again.
Yeah, nobody really enjoys watching Dave work. Sorry.
On the bright side, we did bring Joseph around. He works for us now.
all illusions of this not being an evil campaign died that day.
Yeah, there was no, we're like, yep, murder hobo campaign, here we come.
To be fair,
No, not murder hobo campaign. Just murder.
Just you're right. Just murder.
Just murder.
Murder the campaign. You're right.
Yeah.
And after he's dead, they use Raise Dead and some other magics to force a few answers out of this poor individual's soul. But there's a little bit of talking here and there. I think Nathalie does some things in the background. And there's some little bit of character building here, but the highlight of that episode was Dave actually scaring the DM for a little bit.
You completely skipped over Nathalie building Beauregard.
That was
on the airship.
Oh yeah, we did.
Yeah, because we had Beauregard by the time we got to Mickey.
Yeah, and he was a hat rack for that fight because we forgot about it.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, he does his job well. All jobs.
Coat hanger.
Meg, you
really good.
want to describe Beauregard in all his glory?
Yes.
we keep forgetting
So
about him.
Beauregard is made up of 3 sets of like grown adult skeletons, okay? And he's got like multiple arms that have been sharpened to points, so sword arms, a bunch of legs, and a couple heads. And yeah, he's doing great. He's living his best undead life.
He's like Goro, except with swords.
Yes.
Yes. And he was made from the remains of not loyal enough members of the Clan of the Ash that Rhapsody killed. Because she does not tolerate mutiny on her ship.
We
And they were not in the
recycle.
budget.
Right.
We're green. We recycle.
Yeah.
Isn't that Team Recycle is Dave, Nathalie, and Rimpy?
Yep.
Dave's the
Skin
skin,
and
Nathalie's the bone, and you're the
Recycle.
soul.
Yep, I'm the soul. Yep.
Yes.
Skin, bones, and soul.
You can't say we're not good for the environment.
I mean, I'm honestly surprised that Chris let me get away with that in the first place. I figured he was just automatically going to say no.
I have lightened up this season. / campaign / in general.
I'm just saying.
We appreciate it a lot. Beauregard is a beautiful asset to the team. And we look forward to Optimus Spine one day becoming a member as well. Optimus Spine is a work in progress, but we look forward to him.
Yes.
Or them, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Right now they're kind of half finished on Kane's work table, and Nathalie forgot to clean up before Kane came home. Whoops.
You mean your father?
I guess in a sense. I mean,
Adopted dad.
adopted dad.
And that brings us to episode 6, A Taste of Vengeance, where we have our first guest of the season. Well, technically second, but first true guest appearance, as Tom is more of a recurring character.
Because at this point, Tom's kind of like honorary cast.
Yeah, exactly. And that was the lovely Jim, aka Jim the Dim. He does a lot of good stuff. Check him out. He totally deserves a shout out. And he joined us as a dragonborn chef whose name is escaping me because I am horrible with names. Someone save me. Eamon?
I don't remember.
I think it was Emin.
Emin, there we go.
Emin. Because I remembered, you just take the L away from lemon. I struggled that episode, though. I felt so bad because I was like, I'm butchering your name. Now, Jim, I'm not butchering your character's name. I was like, Emin, you know? Just took me like
Emin.
6 months.
It only took us a year. It's fine. We got it.
Right, it's fine.
Sorry, Jim.
So, in
We appreciate you.
a combination of searching for other lost things, they find themselves in the small town of Thorngellow. It's a little island, kind of beachy, just relaxing, kind of what you'd expect, beach homily. With a very fancy restaurant and an old tower that no one goes near that's been there for quite a while, which happens to be Ecstasy's. Jim hires them as a, go get this thing for me. His Gumbo, his Kenku sous chef, ran off with all of his recipes, and turns out to be working with the Arbiters to try infiltrating Ecstasy's tower. Gumbo dies, and we have our
He got
first
hard.
PC death. Raza challenged a shadow and a ghost from her
In
past.
campaign 2. Campaign 1, we had a lot of TC death.
Shh. That's not relevant here. Raza
Hey, there.
challenges the big bad of her backstory, and shockingly puts up a much better fight. Sean rolled fire that night.
It was
You
meant to be.
You rolled hot garbage. Like, I remember you were just like, fuck, I can't break this fucking grapple. Like, as Rogar should have been able to break the grapple, but no. Like, you were.
I couldn't
glorious.
hit him. I
It's
couldn't do
glorious.
anything. Like,
The
I don't think
dice were just like, no, we're having a story today.
this is going to be dramatic. We're going to ruin all your months of planning and build up for this character. But in the
Still
end,
worked out the way it was supposed to.
yes. But it was a lot tighter than it should have been. It was like crit, 19, 18, 17, 18, 19, crit was what Sean rolled or something like that. Like, it was insane. But anyway.
Like 2, 3, 1, 5.
I mean, I didn't need much to hit him. But even then, like, I was missing. My rolls were so bad. Like,
Yeah.
but as Raza had declared the single combat, the rest of the group just kind of sat there and watched her die.
Yeah, from
Well,
like
we didn't
1,000
watch her
yards
die.
away.
We just couldn't do shit.
yeah.
Hey.
She told us not to go in. Oh no, the boss told us not to go in.
I gave her buffs. Okay, I didn't watch her die. I gave buffs.
And I used pass without a trace so that all the reinforcements didn't find us.
Yeah, so you
Ecstasy
got,
knew that Raza was going to charge in, and Ecstasy's like, I ain't fighting this guy. Not worth it.
Ecstasy in the group did teleport away, leaving Nathleen to run all the way back to Thorngallow.
Nathalie has been doing a lot of physical, like, labor for someone who is not a martial character, and it's fucking hilarious.
Nathleen's a
Scrawny.
paladin, though. Yeah, Nathleen's a
With
paladin.
noodle arms.
Noodle arm.
She
Why
does.
What did Nathalie do that you teleported into the tower or something?
I dimension doored up to the tower, and I brought Rimpy with me because you stabbed. I just couldn't. Gumbo. You fucking brutalized Gumbo.
And then I dimension doored up with Dave and myself.
Yes, and I think we didn't have enough people to. I think we were just like, it's gonna be easier and quicker. Because people didn't know Nathalie was there. I was like, you need to just, like, start running. And we'll meet you there. Like, we'll wait for you. And you're like, okay, I got this. Starts running.
Fine. It's all the cardio she's ever done in her entire life.
And that's all she'll ever do in her entire life. Never
Oh, yeah.
again.
I think she ended up like a
Bone
level
regardless.
or two of exhaustion from that run.
I mean, fair. She hasn't got stamina.
But that leads them back to the lovely establishment owned by Dim, which after an hour or two is surrounded by arbiters as the rest of the village burns. The characters, being the stalwart heroes and fighters of injustice, steel themselves for battle. I'm kidding, they teleport away and leave everything
We left
to die.
it to burn.
But if you want to
Not a
know
problem.
how that actually turned out, we do have a one-shot I did with Jim and his husband that we will probably post at some point in the future since we're doing away with the Patreon. Maybe?
We'll start staging because there's a couple like Patreon only exclusives that I feel like people should just have access to, otherwise they're never going to hear it. So, and that's not fair.
Yeah. So we'll
Chris, I never finished editing that, by the way.
Oh. You should probably do that.
Sure.
We can definitely talk about that offline.
Yeah. To be fair, I thought you'd have finished it by now.
No, I when I decided I was done with editing, I was partway through that. I was just like, I can't.
Okay, well, I will
Well,
figure
not
out.
Wrong enough.
I'll figure out what to do with that then.
Maybe I can help with like doing some basic bitch editing so we can publish.
I'll figure it out, don't worry. We'll figure that out and we'll get it out to the world in some capacity.
One
Nailed
day.
it. We're
One
doing
day.
great, guys.
So, our next
We are
episode,
really good professional podcasters.
We are.
we call The Cursed. Not because of the
Oh,
content,
this episode.
but because the audio was eaten on, 3 separate occasions?
See if I can remember. The first time the audio was borked. The
Time.
The second time, God, it's so long ago, I don't remember anymore.
The audio is
Echo?
worked again.
It was worked again, and then we started trying to figure out what was it the mics? Was it the soundboard? Because then we got a different soundboard, correct?
Yeah, my dad had a spare sitting around for some bizarre reason, and we
'Cause I
commandeered
think
that.
we recorded it for a third time, but we were like, if this doesn't record, we're giving up. Like, this is
The
it.
third time is when it worked, right?
Yes.
Maybe.
Okay.
Because I think we were all like, if this doesn't record, we're not doing a fourth one. Like, we're just like, fuck this, like, this is not
Yeah.
worth
it was going to be time lapsing over it and just saying, yes, some stuff happened, but we had some real technical issues. It's a bear going and recording something multiple times, and then
It really killed our momentum, and I actually think it was like a really depressing time for like all of us. Like, it's when Chris, you started burning out on the editing. It was.
Yep.
I had to keep trying to figure out how to make the scenes the same but different, so it wasn't boring for my players to go through this again.
And it was like, there were certain scenes that we did, and I was like, oh, I really liked it the first time we went through, but it was like, we don't fucking have it. It just doesn't exist, and it was rough. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't recreate those off the cuff moments that happen naturally.
No. Like, there was one moment. I know Sean was really married to it, so he managed to work it in. But in this episode, Sean makes a deal with a very dark individual from another plane. And the cost is something that Roz was willing and planning on paying for another reason to begin with. And it's just this perfect delivery of, so it's free. It just could not be copied. It could not be mastered. Like, it was a serious moment. It was dark. It was tense. And with that, just 180'd it. As my team here does so often.
There was also the moment in the beginning of the episode with Ecstasy that we couldn't really recapture.
Yeah.
the fight on the airship.
Well, speaking of that fight on the airship, as they make away and leave the tavern to burn, thinking the Leviathan is safe, they are wrong and are ambushed by another splinter force of arbiters. But their appearance quickly turns the tide, and they take 2 prisoners. A returning character from Campaign 1, and a new, minor villain, who are taken prisoner. That's totally how it worked out the first time. Yep.
Definitely.
I believe
100%.
there is some tensions on the ship, a little bit of talking. Because honestly, all the versions have blended together in my head over the
It's
year.
really hard to remember what actually ended up being in the episode because we did it 3 times.
And it wasn't just like, oh, it's this one section, just re-record the scene. No, it was the entire episode every time.
Fisher might cut out.
Oh shit! I'm like, what I was saying was, it was not just like a small scene that could just be done on the cusp and like put in. No, it was the entire episode each time. So it was like, what should have been 3 hours was like 9.
Like some Groundhog Day bullshit.
Yep.
Never again.
It didn't help that was a super dialogue-intensive episode, too, because that was originally where the big meeting was, too.
Yeah, we cut that
Yeah,
and moved
and-
it around, I think.
Yeah, and we definitely changed the outcome
Yes.
of that drastically. So the meeting was pushed around, and we changed how Vladimir played a role into this, which I think has worked out for the better. I like the pacing of that. It just took a lot to get there.
And speaking of Vladimir, that brings us to episode 8, Ashen Intrigue, where parts of episode 7, the original, and other things come to fruition in conversations. Ecstasy gallivanting about on her airship with a new band of new inner circle has made the older inner circle uncomfortable. And a summit is called to address the sudden changing perceptions within the clan. Conversation, biting, bullying, and whatnot goes back and forth. Vladimir comes back from a one-time character to a reoccurring character that Patch is both enjoying and cannot wait to see the conclusion of, and you'll get a taste of that conclusion tonight at the end of all of this. But it's another very dialogue-heavy episode, a little bit of character building on the background. I know Tom was in one of these episodes. Was it Ashen Intrigue? So you get to meet Kane for more than a few seconds, like he was in the prologue. And you get to delve into the relationship he has with Nathalie a little bit. Rimpy does some things, so does Dave.
Things happened.
Craven starts a fanatical church at the cafeteria.
That was fun.
That was great.
I can't remember what episode that is in, but it is definitely, I think, around the cursed episode.
It's throughout the campaign, because it becomes a reoccurring theme every time we go back to home base.
I was helping him too.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah, because it was episode
It's so
4, Be Better, is when the first came up, because he threw his portable hole, which is a church, on the wall, and Dave convinces the crew that they must worship at it in the morning before they start their shift. And then it builds from there repeatedly.
Yeah, Craven, you want to explain what's in your portable hole?
Yeah, an entire church.
To whom?
To her horniness.
Yep. A 10-foot by 10-foot church. Pews included and a statue to God. Also known as the Dark Lady. The Boss Lady.
There are a lot of names for exits in this campaign. It's almost like an Easter egg at this point.
It's great. There's
And
her
Meg has
horniness.
created like so many good ones. That was all like Nathalie and Craven like energy. They're so good.
Nathalie's nervous energy is fantastic.
So we get a little bit more of that in Ashen Intrigue, and then we spill into Lengthening Shadows, which some moral politicking happens after this little bit of summit in the clan, and it depends on how the tide turns. That is where our lovely guest Tom from GGM fame comes into play. Kane. So it is Lengthening Shadows when he returns, not Ashen Intrigue. This is what happens when you read your show notes. Probably should have read them in a little more detail. But then we wouldn't be discount, would we?
That's right.
We would not be discount.
We cannot do no wrong.
If it's wrong, it's on brand. If it's right, we're doing a good job.
Exactly.
So this is, again, a very more dialogue, political-heavy episode. Characters kind of do developments here and there. Raza begins coming to terms with what has transpired and similar things. And then we move on to episode 10, aka Blood in the Hills. And this is where Raza and Rimpy are given a little bit of leadership. And they are told to go reclaim some misguided members of the clan. They are given a direct order not to kill, which is kind of hard for Raza and Rimpy, because that is absolutely their default.
They can kill. They were told not to kill any of the children that were there.
We were told, don't harm the children, get the clan's stuff back, and make the mages come back and kill them if they won't, or just make everyone come back and kill them if they won't.
Either way, in a very off-brand, off-character thing to the two murder-heavy characters, they do a pacifist run of this dungeon I create, knocking out
It was
control.
impressive.
Yes, because I
We
believe
did good.
it was Craven, Nathalie, Rimpy, Raza, and 2 NPCs.
Yep. Yeah, I think Dave and Ecstasy were the only 2 people that weren't there.
Yeah, they do their own thing. I think in part of Lengthening Shadows they do.
Yeah, we had our own like political like meetup talkies.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Lengthening Shadows. Was that?
That I believe Kane was a part of as well.
Yes.
Yes.
We had his discussion about him helping keep an eye on Nathalie, and Dave had an existential crisis of someone actually expecting something from him.
That's actually a really interesting character moment, to be honest.
What, Dave's existential crisis?
Yes.
Yes. Like Dave realizing he's not just the comedic relief, he's actually like a valuable member. It's like, oh shit, I have to be responsible.
I have a responsibility, but everyone hates me and doesn't expect me to do anything.
I mean, that's only partially true.
What part?
All of it. Depends on the team you're on that day. You know that, Dave.
Fair enough.
So, they manage to pacifist run this dungeon and encounter a gold dragon. But not just any gold dragon. One linked to a further plot point down the road, so we will not get too much into that. But, them being unbelievably, untaintedly, and unapologetically evil and necromancers should have been a warning to this dragon, who cannot pass insight to save its life. Because Raza somehow convinced it that Nathalie summoning the dead was ancestor worship in its most pure form, because it allowed them to come back and aid the living.
It was amazing.
Rimpy also helped do this in a straight face, and I remember them going, I don't know how this is working. Like, how is this working? I'm like,
It shouldn't have worked. It had no business working. It had all the makings of an absolutely awful decision, and we all should have been incinerated on the spot in that cave.
Yep.
But somehow we befriended a gold dragon, which is now our ally. Somehow.
And life is good.
So, this new, giant, violent ally in tow, they leave the cave, only to be ambushed by unexpected forces targeting Nathalie. Nathalie gets shanked to within an inch of her life, but their dragon ally definitely helps turn what would have been a difficult fight into a bit of a cakewalk. And they send back to the village from whence they came, which then leads us to the finale of our second, well, I guess where we left off, our finale of 2021, yeah, so the latest episode would be, it's about family. We bring in yet another guest, a dear friend of Sean, known as Lane, to play a distant cousin of both Nathalie and a nephew of Ecstasy, whose name I'm not going to try pronouncing because I'm too tired.
Oh, what did we nickname him? Like, I shortened it. Crap. I gave him like a very
it's
generic.
It's like Soulless something. I have it written down. I'm sorry, Lane. I'm tired. I'm not looking the notes up right now. But he comes in, and this is where we truly get to meet the Craven clan in all of their glory, as they begin worshipping the divinity that is related to the true divinity.
The Dark Lady.
No, it was Lord so-and-so, and they groveled, and they were apparently everywhere, and Lane found this absolutely hysterical as he pitches the idea of this artifact that could potentially help the clan in a great deal. However, spoilers heavy, there's a trap, and a tense standoff happens until the mother of Lane's character and Megan's sister-in-law helps defuse the situation. Words are said, and the bond of family and friends prevail over the innate bloodlust of everyone at the table. PvP was very likely this episode, and partially encouraged by the DM. But everyone powered through, and we found a semi-peaceful resolution that links to some more powerful organizations that lie hidden throughout the world, aka the Conclave of Plate, which might be appearing sooner than later, depending on how things begin to play out. And with that, that is the up to speed.
That
in
is the
abridged
so
version.
far.
Some 33 hours of content skimmed down to 40 minutes, give or take.
Something like that.
Pretty damn good, all things considering.
A lot of good moments in there. Oh
lot of
yeah,
great
and
moments.
also we kind of skimmed over it. Nathalie and Ecstasy are related. I don't remember how.
By marriage.
No, I'm not married to Nathalie.
No. Your wife is Nathalie's cousin.
Yes.
Yes.
Cousin-in-law.
Yeah,
I mean, Liv
you're-
used to take Nathalie's lunch money. Understandable, because Nathalie's a little shit and probably deserved it.
But also, like, Lith is the black sheep of the family, so, like, they're like, don't let... Your mom was probably like, don't let that little shit bitch take your money, and you're like, but she's scary, she got knives! She stabbed me.
Exactly.
And-
So she's probably used to getting shanked in the kidney. It's fine.
Oh
So
my
also-
god!
I also forgot to mention, Rimpy was adopted. Well, not adopted. Was taken into the clan at a young age and trained by Lith, Ecstasy's wife.
Yes.
So you are like a nephew.
Unofficial family member.
You're a part of this family, whether
If
you
only
like
that
it
made
or
me
not.
actually safe. I feel like I'm more likely to die by Lith's hands than anybody else.
But what an honor, am I right?
Also, Megan, you never explained Lith's character.
Who is Lith?
Lith is Ecstasy's wife.
Whom Megan adores almost more than she does her actual husband.
That's not true. Actually, no, Vera, that's not true at all.
Vera's just being self-deprecating as always.
As always,
Yeah,
that's
it's kind of my thing.
Vera's mode. Lith is a character that I proposed to Chris in Campaign 1 for building, and she never got to appear in Campaign 1, so it was very exciting to have her appear in Campaign 2. I don't actually know what class she is now. She is a Dark Elf, but we played around with Assassin.
She's a Dark Elf
Barbarian.
beast. She's
Barbarian.
A beast. She is a assassin with a few dips in Barbarian for rage, because Lith is a angry soul.
She is a
She's
chaos
also
in
a fashionista. That whole scene where they gibbed a arbiter spy and dragged it back. She was dressed in a French maid outfit the entire time.
She likes to wear nice dresses of all different types and high heels and just has knives.
Let her be femme.
Yeah.
Where do you think Rimpy gets it from?
Right, absolutely. Now I just want to draw Rimpy in beautiful dresses. Not like the sexy kind, but gorgeous, embroidered, high fashion dresses. And he's
Young
just
Rimpy.
young Rimpy. And he's like,
Young
fuck you,
Rimpy.
I'm fashionable. You know?
No. Young Rimpy forced to wear them for, what's her name?
For Liv?
Lith. Yeah.
As punishment or something.
I want you to wear them. I want you to try these on for me. I need a dummy.
Nah, they have very different body types. She wouldn't have.
Yeah, I was like, that doesn't work at all.
Young.
It
It
wouldn't
still
work.
doesn't work.
When he's small.
Different body types, period. End of question.
That's like putting it on a kobold. Would you make Dave wear the dress?
David addresses
I do
actually a
it.
very interesting picture.
Also, I think we also need to mention another fantastic character that I love. Charles, is so great. I love Charles.
Isn't he like the
He is the
manager for the
he's
clan?
the illithid.
he is the illithid.
HR.
Yeah.
right.
Illithid, he's
Yeah.
the lead librarian and head interrogator of the clan, because if you can't get someone to speak, he eats their brain and then jots their memory into a journal of their skin, which is how Dave learned how to tan.
He learned it from Charles.
He learned it from Charles.
He was my skin meister.
Gross. Please never say that again.
Sentences you never thought you would hear at Discount Dungeons.
He
He's
says
also
a lot of the curse shit.
He's also one of the speakers, which is one of the higher ups in the clan. The accountant you're talking about was a joke in episode 7 that was lost to the editing gods.
God, that's right.
Carl.
The golf course.
Carl,
Carl.
yeah. Carl, oh,
The golf
Carl.
course is dead.
Yeah. So is Carl, apparently.
No,
Carl
Carl has reappeared in other episodes because the accountant has come
Does
up.
not.
Carl exists. Carl
just
is the
it's not the same delivery.
yeah, it's not the same delivery. It was not as good, but Carl is the
In
accountant.
Yeah, go ahead, Chris.
He's the accountant. He is the stand-in for the original one that was killed pre-everything by Lith because drama that you need to find out in campaign 1.
Yeah, in the first take of the Cursed episode, there was a fantastic moment between Carl and Rimpy where we established that the clan has a golf course and they play golf. And it is lost to time, and only we will remember it in our brains.
But it was a
And
very
Carl-
good moment.
Carl is also this big orc, huge, super ripped, jacked, carries around an axe, and he pulls out his little glasses and he talks about crunching numbers and being like, we're over the budget, we need to discuss this.
Good times.
Good times.
So many good NPCs, guys. So many good NPCs.
Yeah, and a lot of them are going to come up. Speaking of which, we forgot to mention one of the other speakers and very key family members, Rivian, the son
Oh yeah.
of Ecstasy.
How could we
and
forget
Lith.
Vivian?
He has not had much showtime in Campaign 2, but he is still a major player that might come up soon.
And a major character in Campaign 1. Go listen to it.
Yeah.
That was probably one of my favorite episodes from Campaign 1.
It's pretty good.
Okay. It was pretty good. Yeah, pretty damn fantastic.
That was the episode where we all agreed with this was something that we wanted to continue doing.
Yeah. It's what, episode 11 or 12 of Campaign 1?
I think it was like 11.
Was it that far in?
Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Because it goes that, meeting Graves, the Lily, the fight, then the Lily, then your skyship trip.
Yep. You don't need to spoil Campaign 1. We get it, Chris.
And then the climax. Which I had fun writing. And it was very sad. But it was a good way to end out that section of our game together. I think, was there anything else in Season 2 that was worth kind of talking about? I mean, we talked about, like, Latimer becoming far bigger part than he was supposed to be, and it's worked out very well. We have Lane, who will be returning with us next week to continue out from episode 11. I believe Patch might also be joining us for some episodes in the near future. And we should be seeing some interesting things. Now, we do have a very small little clip to play for you, as well as the group. And then we can discuss some reactions, and we'll call it a bit of an early night since we're all kind of a little fatigued here, and I think it would be good to give ourselves back an extra half hour to like sleep or whatever. So, you guys can start playing that file I sent you earlier. And I will start playing it now. And if it doesn't come through, someone ping us on the stream and we will figure it out.
Proceed, family.
I should preface this. I will need to add stuff to show notes later, but this was edited by the awesome Nikki, who does Beholder to No One. Check out her stuff. It is awesome. She did a great job on this, so much appreciated for all that work. And special shouts out to Patch and Dave from Afar. So, let's jump into it.
Alright, and play.
Embrace. Their bonds growing stronger than blind aggression. We slowly pull away until we see this image is but a large projection upon the mirror wall, before which gathered are the speakers and their closest attendings. Yet sitting above them all, we pick up our scene as family embrace, their bonds growing stronger than blind aggression. We slowly pull away until we see this image is but a large projection upon the mirror wall, before which gathered are the speakers and their closest attendings. Yet sitting above them all is Latimer, waiting for silence to fall.
I think what we have seen is proof that we can no longer trust Lady Ecstasy. Even if Bloodworth had poor intentions, he may have had a point. The lady does put more faith in family, and while her judgment has been mostly sound, her recent choices have been questionable.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Her recent actions show she no longer has the interests of the clan in mind, instead pushing for her own ideals. Going on little vacations to get sentimental trinkets, and with her merry band of misfits to boot. I know we all made an oath to follow Lady Ecstasy implicitly, but I call you back to the words we all repeated, be it yesterday or the day the clan was first created. We shall do all that we must to bring forth a blazing fire and usher in a new age. I don't know about you, but I did not hear her name in there. Did you?
Like, yeah, man. Down with the old power.
Lady Ecstasy has outlived her reign.
And now, she is walking in outsiders into our very home.
What? Who?
is he talking about? What are we?
You didn't know. I thought Lady Ecstasy had made you all aware. We have 2 new prisoners, one of which is from a group that has had their eye on us for ages. I understand this may be nothing, but in the lady's absence, I urge the utmost vigilance, and I think it best that we review our defenses.
The large Goliath in the corner nods her consent and agreement, motioning silently that she'll meet you upon the ramparts.
Now, let not the actions of Ecstasy distract us from our goals. We are the Clan of Ash. We will bring forth that blazing fire and open the doors to true power. And when one door opens, another one closes.
As Vladimir embraces the dark path we ascending the clan down, a different darkness falls upon a fire Ganase as we shift to her cold cell, our passionate captors glaring, and the door slams shut.
You call this a cell?
It's stone and steel, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I guess if you're into this kind of thing, that's fine. But it's not necessarily my speed, as it were.
Doesn't matter your speed, spy. You're trapped, and you're going to hang after we get all the information we can from you.
Trapped? That's a big word for it. Makes it seem like y'all caught me. But how do you know I'm not here on my own accord?
It's a poor plan if it was.
Best laid plans of my seamen.
There's no escape from our cells.
There's no escape.
The sound of footsteps in stone cut through the conversation, soon leading to a man dressed in dapper military garb, fading to view. Look at the spy, now humbled in her chains.
Oh, that's the first time anyone's called me humble, but I guess I'll take it as a compliment.
Well, regardless, you will be interrogated and returned to our benefactor, regardless of your state.
First things first, I just want to let you know, sunny side up. That's how I take things before an interrogation.
You'll be lucky to get gruel.
Gruel. Well, I guess if that's all that you're offering. As she walks forward, she's talking about gruel and talking about how great it is.
And as your words and mannerisms pull the eye, your hand darts behind the thin bars, reaching and muffling the jingle. You slip the key ring off the nearest guard's belt, quickly withdrawing your hand before the next word falls from your lips.
Sunny side up eggs or not, gruel or not, I just want y'all to know I can get out of here whenever I want. She swings the keys around her finger.
Enough! As the leader's hand grabs your wrist and wrenches the keys from it, pushing you slightly to the ground. Let it stew! With the sharp nod of his head, the other guards turn on their heels and begin to exit, him quickly following, leaving you alone to contemplate recent events. And as you do, looking up through the little slit that lets you see the sky, you place your hand where your heart should be and remember just how alone you are. But as you think these thoughts, you pan away further and further until we reach the land of Sarse. The night still, much like your cell. That stillness is soon shattered as the guards wake upon the ramparts. See blazing eyes glaring back from the darkness as the
It's not done yet, Dave.
horde fills the air, followed soon by the blares of alarm and the coming siege that means only death. Okay, and there we go. Now please react, my dear players. Thoughts, predictions.
Well, am I allowed to react now?
Yes, you can react now. It is
Yes.
over.
Things have gotten real, as they say.
Also, fuck
Plot
Vladimir.
thickens.
Fuck Vladimir. Fuck him.
Damn.
And Patch did a really good job. Like, I'm just like, oh, Patch. Like the voice acting when that was phenomenal. 100%. Like,
Good job,
and I
everyone.
love it. He was just like, yeah. Applause for Patch. I was just like, did you hear her name anywhere in that? I'm like, oh, I made this clan. I invented this, you asshole. It was very good. Also, Dave did such a good job as well. I was like, holy shit!
I'm kind of curious, do you have any idea who Dave is? Or what character he's playing? I'm asking specifically Megan. She's the only one who would ever have a chance of knowing. Maybe Dave.
Is it Umbra?
Is it fucking Umbra? Like, I'm gonna shit my pants if it's... I'm gonna, like, tear some goddamn wall...
Is it Umbra?
Oh, I got it! And you're not gonna tell me, and I'm just gonna be dying to know. And...
Yep.
I shut off the mic so I can't scream. Blow out the mic.
I thought Discord was just doing us a solid.
No. No.
I cannot scream. I have hype, and yet I cannot scream.
I turned off my microphone, so I cannot scream.
Yes, Atticus, Mirrored is going down.
Well, the plot thickens.
Yeah.
It was a very good teaser. Fantastic.
Yeah, we'll find a way to get that on Twitter or something so people can listen to it at their leisure.
Yes.
Yeah. But again, thanks to you, Nikki, from Beholder to No One. You did a great job editing. Thank you for putting this together on such short notice, because it was hard to schedule everyone for this. And again, also thank you, Dave. Thank you, Patch, for the time and effort you put into it. You delivered it amazingly. It was everything I could want it to be. And judging by everyone's reaction to Patch's thing, he delivered it. Mwah. So.
Fuck you, Latimer. Fuck you.
Oh boy.
So that's a little bit of a preview of what's to come down the pipe. You have a bizarre incident with the Arbiters. You have plotting internal in the clan, and you have a rising tide of the demon in the lands of Sarse, which ties back to one of Ecstasy's goals, to deal with this incursion that has claimed so many lives so long ago. So we'll see where all this comes down. And a lot of this is going to be based on what my players do. Gotta love it when when the tracks and wheels are off and you guys are in a sandbox and you gotta figure out what the fuck to do for yourselves.
I suck at making sandcastles, by the way. So,
I mean, whether there's rails or not, does it matter? Because it's not like we're going to follow them.
You're right.
You give us some guidelines, you give us some crumbs for plots, and we're like, yeah! As we're like, you know, just like garbling them up and then like sticking them in our nose. We're like, yeah, plot! Yeah!
You're like, no, that's a stick. All right, never mind.
No, that's glue, Megan. Don't put it in. Oh, it's in her mouth. All right, okay. Just like, yeah, I'm a real D&D villain. No.
Jesus Christ. Yes, to say that the Clan of Evil is slightly reminiscent of Dr. Evil is not inaccurate.
It's pretty close.
Well, thank you for everyone who has decided to come up for this recap episode. We greatly appreciate your time and hanging out with us tonight. Unless our cast has anything they want to drop before we leave, I think we're in the clear.
Just remember, boys and girls, we're not evil. We're evil stupid.
That's right.
Very important alignment difference.
Accurate.
Accurate indeed.
And thank you for everyone who has continued to follow us through this journey and support us. We're still here, we're still kicking ass, and we're still learning new ways to post this online for y'all to enjoy. So, thank you guys.
We're doing our best.
We're doing our best, Jesus.
I'm gonna say,
but to everyone that has stuck around and been supportive, like honestly, no one has ever told us, be like, you should stop. It's bad. Everyone has been. You know it's true. No one has blatantly been like, wow, you guys suck.
This is true. We have a very supportive group of people that listen to us and support us, which we could not be more grateful for.
Absolutely.
That said,
this would not have lasted as long as it has without all of your support and encouragement.
Yeah,
so thank you.
It's a lot harder than it looks sometimes, but one note of how it's keeping to accommodate schedules, we will be pushing our start times. We'll make an official announcement as well to 8 p.m. EST instead of 7:30. Just a little bit of extra time for us to deal with some back-end stuff, get settled in, make sure we can all eat, because our schedules have been very wonky the last few weeks and months as the world decides to continue to not do things intelligently. But with
It's
that,
my job. My job's done.
it's not just yours, it's Meg's. It's all of our jobs, let's be honest.
I mean, I work from home, so I don't. But good news is now that we're on Twitch, I don't foresee us going anywhere again because there's no reason to do anything else at this point.
Yeah, the Podbean streams were not fun.
No, the Podbeam streams were real bad, and just editing and doing a regular old podcast just took way too much free time.
Yeah. You put a lot of work into it, Chris. Like, thank you for everything that you have done. Like, the work that you did was fantastic. So, and if
Thanks.
I had the money, I honestly would pay you for that. So, like, when you were like, I'm tired, I'm like, I mean, it was a second job. You right? Like, I'm not gonna be like, no. Yeah, absolutely. So, I'm happy this works, like, is less stressful for everyone involved. 100%.
Yeah, it is so far been less stressful. At least up until the day of me still learning how to crop these screens right.
We're
Stressful in the
We're
moment.
working the kinks out.
It's stressful in the
It's a
moment.
learning
for sure.
curve.
Yep.
It's all good. It's all good.
Okay. Well,
All right. Let's wrap this shit up.
yeah.
I don't know how to close podcast out. Oh wait,
We don't get
this
to
is
do
not a
that anymore.
podcast. Now we don't get
peace.
to do.
Yeah, exactly. Catch us next week as we
Twitch
dive
stream out.
back into the actual story of Campaign 2.
D&D. D&D.
It's been a while. I think we're all
D&D.
kind of aching for it. So we hope to see you there as we continue the story for real this time. And with that,
Yes.
good night, be safe, and see you next week.
See you next week.
Bye, guys.